So there's a sport, well, it's kind of a sport that you're probably not betting on. You probably don't know that much about it, but if you're not betting on it, then you're missing out big time. And that sport is eSports, as you probably could have guessed from the bet slips. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down all the benefits, the main reasons you should be betting on eSports. And I'm also going to be explaining my tips for becoming a very profitable bettor betting on eSports.
Teams like EDG.
So, over the past 90 days, I'm aware this sounds completely degenerate, but I have bet on eSports every single day. It's been the main sport I've been betting on. There's no football going on, no basketball going on. And you can see in August, my results have been meh. But in July, I was up over $20,000, and most of that is coming from eSports plays. And then in June, I was up like $4,000 or whatever. Most of that also from eSports. So sports betting is always going to be rocky. Nobody can win every single day, but I'm going to teach you how you can create your own eSports betting strategy and win month over month.
You're not. And vitality.
So there are four main benefits, reasons you should be betting on eSports. The first reason is very simple. There's a ton of games. There's like 50 eSports games, matches, whatever you want to call them, per day across the major leagues like League of Legends. And that's a ton of surface area for sportsbooks to cover. They can't manage their lines. And that means there's a lot of profitable betting opportunities for sharp bettors like us. You think about the NFL, there's basically games one day a week. Sunday, it's easier for sportsbooks to manage their lines. In eSports, there's like 50 games a day. It's hard for sportsbooks to keep up, and that means a lot of profitable bets for us.
Who kills, at least, is Caps.
So the second reason you should be betting on eSports is the markets are very inefficient, right? There are so many games. Esports is kind of a niche sport. Books don't really know where to price these lines. So there's a lot of big discrepancies between sports books. They don't know how to manage their lines. And that means opportunity for us as sharp bettors. You know when sports books make the most money? NFL season. You want to know why? Because they watch their lines like a hawk. That's when books make the most money. NFL, because they're watching their lines like a hawk. The markets are very efficient, whereas in esports, all these books are running around kind of clueless, throwing up lines. They don't really know how to price things, and that's opportunity for us as sharp bettors.
A beautiful read of this. Zaru!
So this is a little bit of a stab, but the third reason is I assume you don't watch esports. And a lot of people think, oh, if I watch a sport like the NFL, then I'll be a much better sports bettor. And again, that's false. The most profitable sport for sports books is the NFL. And that's because people bet with their emotions, they bet with their gut, and they don't think logically and in a data-driven way. So esports is a sport where I'm assuming you probably don't stay up till 3 a.m. to watch a lot of these League of Legends matches. So that means you'll probably bet in a more data-driven, logical way and not let your emotions get into it. And emotions, that's what kills your sportsbook account, guys. So the fourth reason benefit of betting on esports is a ton of books have lines. I mean, prizepicks, Underdog Fantasy, tons of other random sites at this point have esports lines up. And that means opportunity for you. That's more surface area that prizepicks has to cover, more lines they have to manage where there could be opportunities. So now let's get into some tips for betting on esports. So my first tip is very simple. Look for value. If you are finding value or an edge, however you want to think about it, that's going to help you make more money sports betting long term. So all of these books, prizepicks, Underdog Fantasy, they all set their lines independently. So as a sharp bettor, you should be hunting through the market, looking for discrepancies, looking for where prizepicks is screwing up a line where you can take advantage. Okay, that's going to help you make more money long-term, being a data-driven bettor, looking for these inefficiencies, line discrepancies in the market, and I'll show you how I do that. So switching over to my screen just for 1 second is look at this play. Jabby's line, this player right here, his line on prizepicks is 36. On Underdog Fantasy, they have him 2 kills higher at 38. Right? You're never going to see this level of discrepancies in like an NBA player points. You're never going to see a 2-point discrepancy between prize picks and underdog. It's only in esports because the markets are so fragmented, so inefficient, and there's so many games. I mean, you can just look right here. The sportsbooks can't manage their lines. So Jabby, he's at 38 on underdog, 37.5 on parlay play, and prize picks is pretty significantly lower at 36. Right? So it seems like there's value on the over on prize picks. Their line is too low relative to the other books we have in the market. And you can see that's exactly what the OddsJam Fantasy Optimizer is recommending, right? It's telling us, hey, Jabby, his line is 36 on prize picks. The other sports books have his line higher, so it's recommending we take the over, right? That would be a play with value, with an edge on prize picks. So my first tip was simple. Find value in the market, right? That nobody wins every day. But if you're finding value, if you have an edge, you're going to win long term, right? It's just like being the best poker player in the world. You're not going to win every single hand. You may go through some brief losing stretches, but if you have an edge over the other players, right? If you're finding these line discrepancies in the market in sports betting, then you're gonna win long term. That's how you become a winning bettor. But anyways, my second tip is kind of related. There are esports games going on from like literally 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. Always games are going on, so books are always dropping odds for upcoming games, right? So long story short, if you're looking for value in the market, you should be checking for these line discrepancies constantly, right? Like prize picks probably has new lines up since when I started recording this video, since there's so many esports games. So the more you're looking, don't just check in the morning or, after work. The more you can check, the better, the more successful you're going to be, because books are always dropping lines for upcoming days, and you never know when there is going to be a great esports line discrepancy that you can take advantage of. So again, esports, super inefficient, fragmented market. You're going to see big discrepancies in where books are setting their lines. So my third strategy tip for betting on esports is look for middles, look for middle bets. So I'll give you an example. Imagine prize picks has a player's kills line at 19.5 kills. Underdog Fantasy has his line at 29.5, right? So you have a 10 kill discrepancy. What you can do is you can take the over on prize picks, over 19.5, the under on underdog fantasy, under 29.5, and if that player has 20 to 29 kills, then you are going to win both bets. You're going to win your over 19.5 as well as your under 29.5. So that is called a middle bet. And they're super fun bets. You kind of have like a lottery ticket. You're hoping that a player ends up between 20 and 29 kills. And it can be a super profitable strategy when you're finding these big line discrepancies and you have access to multiple sports books. The downside of middle betting is you need multiple books, right? You're going to need prize picks and underdog fantasy, or prize picks and parlay play, other platforms, so you can put on these middle bets when you find line discrepancies. So my final tip, but it's really important, is look for positive correlation, okay? And I know that sounds like a kind of big word, but it's pretty simple. I've gone through all the data for League of Legends. As an example, League of Legends is an esports league. Is when you're betting on League of Legends, you want to pair players from the same team, both to go over together. So if two players are on the same team, they're positively correlated to either both go over or both go under. So when you're playing teammates on League of Legends, you want to play them both to go over or both to go under. On the other hand, I've also gone through the data for players on opposing teams. Is when you're playing players on opposing teams, you want to take them to go opposite directions. If you take one player to go over, then you want to take a player on the opposing team to go under. So this is very simple. I've just looked through all the historical data for where there's positive correlation in esports, and it's pretty simple. Players on the same team in League of Legends, you want to take them both to go over or both go under together if they're on the same team. If they're on two different teams, opposing teams, you want to take one guy to go over, one to go under. Those outcomes are positively correlated. I'm happy to answer any questions. Let me know your thoughts on this video. I want to make good, interesting content for everyone watching. I appreciate your time.